precisely 1:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Romesh Piris, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. The President says Indo-Sri Lanka FTA would be upgraded into a comprehensive economic and technological partnership. 7 urban councils dissolved to form municipal councils. The Parliamentary Caucus for Children to meet next week. The USAID signs new fire agreement with Sri Lanka. The Examination Department says the dates for scholarship examination and advanced level unchanged. Floral tribute to mark the 116th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister and President Julius Richard Jayawardena. The 2022 edition of the Colombo International Book Fair opened to the public for the second day at the BMICH. And in world news, Russian President tells Prime Minister Modi that he wants Ukraine war to end as soon as possible. And in sports news, champions of Asia felicitated by the President. Now the local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the Indo-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement would be revived and upgraded into a comprehensive economic and technological partnership. He pointed out Sri Lanka and India gradually have weaned themselves out of the barriers to investment and the non-tariff barriers to trade, especially in relation to Sri Lanka-Indo economic relations. He made these observations addressing the Sri Lanka-India Society get-together held at the Taj Samudra Hotel in Colombo on Thursday to mark the 75th anniversary of independence of India. An extraordinary gazette has been issued dissolving 7 urban councils to transform them into municipal councils with the aim of developing a capital city in each administrative district. Accordingly, the local government bodies of Vaunia, Kalutara, Kegol, Puttanam, Trincomalee, Mannar and 2 cities in Ampara have had their urban councils dissolved. The extraordinary gazette has been issued by Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena in his capacity as the Minister of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government. The functions of the new municipal councils will come into effect from March 20th, 2023. The Parliamentary Caucus for Children established to address the issues concerning children of the country by contacting the relevant ministries and other institutions in order to create a better tomorrow for the children of Sri Lanka is scheduled to meet on the 21st of September. The primary objectives of this caucus include policy changes to introduce new policies for the well-being of children and regularly review and revise policies relevant to the well-being of all children to coordinate with the different ministries, departments and agencies working for children as well as to draw greater attention of state agencies and the public to the problems and issues facing children. Constituted in the 7th Parliament under the chairmanship of the Dr. Sudashini Fernandapillai, the caucus was revitalized on 3rd December 2015 for the 8th Parliament. This will be the first time that the said caucus will be resuming for the 9th Parliament. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing local news. Building on the USAID Administrator Samantha Power's recent visit, U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chang announced today that the United States, through USAID, will provide an additional estimated $65 million in assistance to Sri Lanka over a 5-year period. This funding is in addition to over $60 million of new humanitarian and fertilizer assistance that Administrator Power announced last week in response to the current economic and political crisis in Sri Lanka. The U.S. has provided more than $2 billion in development assistance to Sri Lanka since 1956. Today marks the 116th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister and the first Executive President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Julius Richard Jayawardena. On this occasion, many will recall the United National Party leader's historic political victory at the July 1977 elections. To mark the occasion, a floral tribute was paid at the UMP headquarters in Sirikota this morning. The national organizer of the United National Party, Sagala Ratnayaka, president of the Jatika Seva Sangame Akila Viraj Karyavasam, and the Director General of Trade Unions to the President, Saman Ratna Priya, and several trade union leaders took part on the occasion. The 2022 edition of the Colombo International Book Fair is open to the public for the second day today at the BMICH. Organized by the Book Publishers Association, the Colombo International Book Fair 2022 will be held from 16th to 25th of September. This annual event, which extends over a week, is organized by the Sri Lanka Book Publishers Association for the 23rd time. With that, we conclude the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Commissioner General of Examinations, LMD Damasena, says there will be no change in the scheduled dates for the Grade 5 Scholarship Examination and the GCE Advanced Level Examination. In an announcement, the Examination Department has notified that exams will be held in parallel with the school schedule for the year 2022. Accordingly, the Grade 5 Scholarship Examinations will be held on December 4th as previously planned. The Commissioner General of Examinations further stated that the GCE Advanced Level will be held from December 5th to January 2nd. The Commissioner General of Examinations additionally informed that all candidates should be ready to appear for the examinations on the relevant dates. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight. Similar to sexual harassment, online violence is emerging as an important workplace issue among local companies and making the stance worse in that human resource managers understand poorly on the act and its implications on employees. The recently published report, Business Case for Creating Respectful Workplaces in Sri Lanka, by the International Finance Corporation stressed the need for companies to strengthen their code of conduct to ensure the appropriate use of online resources. Entities were also urged to provide training for managers and employees about the nature of online violence, online safety such as privacy settings, relevant policies and procedures for reporting incidents that the support services that are available. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to world news. Taking a look at the headlines of the world news. Russian President tells Prime Minister Modi that he wants Ukraine war to end as soon as possible. Ukrainian President says some mass burial victims were tortured. Colorful songbirds could be traded to extinction. Now the world news in detail. Russian President Vladimir Putin has told India's Narendra Modi that he understood New Delhi's concerns about the conflict in Ukraine and wanted it to end as soon as possible, according to readout of a bilateral meeting published by the Kremlin. The Indian Prime Minister told Putin on Friday on the sidelines of a regional security bloc summit in Uzbekistan that today's era is not an era of war and said democracy, diplomacy and dialogue kept the world together. New Delhi and Moscow have long-standing ties dating back to the Cold War, and Russia remains by far India's biggest arms supplier. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says investigators searching through a mass burial site in Ukraine have found evidence that some of the dead were tortured, including bodies with broken limbs and ropes around their necks. The site near Izium, recently recaptured from Russian forces, appears to be one of the largest discovered in Ukraine. In a video shared just hours after the exhumation began on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that more than 400 graves were found at the site near Izium, Pisenchansky Cemetery. Research have shown uniquely colored songbirds are at a high risk of extinction because they are in demand as pets. The pet songbird trade in Asia has already driven several species close to extinction, with birds targeted primarily for their beautiful voices. Now a study has revealed that particular colors of plumage put birds at greater risk of being taken from the wild and sold. Researchers say breeding birds in captivity for the trade could help. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding the headlines once again. Russian President tells Prime Minister Modi that he wants Ukraine war to end as soon as possible. Ukrainian President says some mass burial victims were tortured. Colorful songbirds could be traded to extinction. With that, we conclude the world news. Moving on to development news. Sri Lanka will receive assistance from international donor agencies to build capacity in selected infrastructure sectors so that appropriate disaster-resilient measures are defined and applied to pre-disaster preparations for recovery and post-disaster recovery efforts. The effort will be rolled out by the United Nations Development Programme through its regional hub in Bangkok with the financial support of the Asian Development Bank under the freshly launched project Resilient Infrastructure Through Enhanced Knowledge. The project is implemented in collaboration with the DMC, National Planning Department, National Budget Department and all stakeholder agencies including the Irrigation Department, Agrarian Development Department, 9 provincial departments of irrigation and Mahaveli Authority of Sri Lanka. That ends development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The felicitation ceremony organised for Sri Lanka's Asia Cup winning cricket team, Asian Championship winning netball team and the Sri Lankan medal winners at the Commonwealth Games was held at the Cinnamon Lakeside Hotel in Colombo under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe last evening. During the ceremony, the victorious team members and the coaches were conferred a best of all from the National Sports Fund. That was Sports News.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Lanka Nippon BizTech Institute launched its first degree program today at KNBTI premises Maharagama in the presence of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Japanese Ambassador Hideki Mizokoshi. LNBTI is an accredited degree awarding institute for its unique IT degree programs, BSc Software Engineering. LNBTI becomes Sri Lanka's first and only Japanese higher education institute to feature a Japanese job-oriented program approved by the Ministry of Education. The Prime Minister thanked the institution for introducing such degree programs at a time when the country needed them. The salient feature of the new IT degree program is that the Japanese private sector employment opportunities will be available for the Sri Lankan students passing out of this university. Furthermore, the IT sector investment opportunities will also be available for them IT-related programs in Sri Lanka. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by...
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Economic News, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Central Depository System Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Colombo Stock Exchange, celebrated its 31st anniversary recently, marking another milestone in the company's journey. An event to mark the occasion was held at the CDS office premises in Rajagiriya. The organization was established on the 30th August 1991 to act as a depository in respect of securities traded on the CSE and to facilitate the settlement of securities that are traded. The CDS is the first depository in the South Asian region and one of the first few depositories globally. That was Economic News.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department forecasts mainly fair weather to prevail over the island. But taking a look at the sea areas, mainly fair weather will prevail over sea areas around the island. Winds will be southwesterly and wind speed will be 20 to 35 kilometers per hour. Wind speed may increase up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour at times in the sea areas of the coast extending from Puttalam to Kankasanture via Mannar and from Mathura to Potuville via Hambantota. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. The President says Indo-Sri Lanka FTA would be upgraded into a comprehensive economic and technological partnership. 7 urban councils dissolved to form municipal councils. The Parliamentary Caucus for Children to meet next week. The USAID signs new 5-year agreement with Sri Lanka. The Examination Department says the dates for scholarship examination and advanced level unchanged. The 2022 edition of the Colombo International Book Fair open to the public for the second day at the BMICH. With that, we conclude the news.